Margarina was a lovely mulatto. Her husband was black as spades and kindly. He went right out and bought a pint of whiskey to host me proper. I tried to pay part of it, but he said no. They had two little children. The kids bounced on the bed. It was their play place. They put their arms around me and looked at me with wonder. The wild humming night of Central Avenue, the nights of Hamp's Central Avenue breakdown howled and boomed along outside. I thought it was wonderful, every bit of it. They were singing in the halls, singing from their windows. Just hell be damned and look out. B got her clothes and we said goodbye and we went down to a chicken shack and played records on the jukebox. A couple of Negro characters whispered in my ear about tea. $1. I said, okay. The connection came in and motioned me to the cellar piss house where I stood around dumbly as he said, pick up, man, pick up. Pick up what? He had my dollar already. He was afraid to point to the floor. I looked around everywhere. He motioned with his head to the floor. It was no floor, just basement. There lay something that looked like a little brown turd. He was absurdly cautious. Gotta look out for yourself. My things ain't cool this week. I picked up the turd, which was a brown paper cigarette, and went back to B, and off we went to the hotel room to get high. Nothing happened. It was Bull Durham tobacco. I wished I was wiser with my money, you know. B and I had to decide absolutely and once and for all what to do. We decided to hitch to New York with our remaining monies. She picked up $5 from her sister that night. We had about 13 or less. So before the daily room rent was due again, we packed up, took off on a red car to Arcadia, California, where Santa Anita is located under snow-capped mountains. It was night. We were pointed towards the enormity, which is the American continent. And holding hands, we walked several miles down the road to get out of the populated district. It was Saturday night. A thing that made me madder than I'd ever been since I left Ozone Park happened. We were standing under a road lamp, thumbing, when suddenly cars full of young kids roared by with streaming flyers. Yeah, yeah, we won, we won! They roared with their streamers flying. Oh, they all shouted. They all yoo-hooed us and got great glee out of seeing a guy and a girl on the road. Dozens of such cars passed full of young faces, throaty young voices, as the saying goes. I hated every single one of them. Who did they think they were? Yang at somebody on the road just because they were little high school punks and their parents carved the roast beef on Sunday afternoons. Well, who did they think they were, making fun of a girl reduced to poor circumstances with a man she wanted to stick with? We were minding our own business, and we didn't get a blessed ride. We had to walk to town, and worst of all, we needed coffee and had the misfortune of going into the only place open, which was a high school soda fountain. All the kids were there, and they remembered us. And now they saw the added fact that B was Mexican, and I refused to go on another minute. B and I wandered in the dark. I finally decided to hide from the world one more night with her, and the morning be damned. We went into a motel court and bought a comfortable little suite for about $4. Shower, bath, towels, wall radio and all. We held each other tight and talked, and I loved this girl in that season we had together. It was far from finished. In the morning, we boldly struck out on our new plan. We were going to take a bus to Bakersfield and work picking grapes. After a few weeks of that, we were headed to New York in the proper way by bus. It was a wonderful afternoon riding up to Bakersfield with B. We sat back, relaxed, talked, saw the countryside roll by, and didn't worry about a thing. We arrived in Bakersfield in late afternoon. The plan was to hit every fruit wholesaler in town. B said we could live in tents on the job, and the thought of living in a tent and picking grapes in the cool California mornings hit me right. But there was no jobs and much confusion with everybody giving us innumerable tips and places to go that didn't materialize in the job. Nevertheless, we ate a Chinese dinner and set out with reinforced bodies. We went across the SP tracks to Mexican town, and B jabbered with her brethren asking for jobs. It was night now, and the little Mextown street was one blazing bulb of lights. Movie marquees, fruit stands, penny arcades, 5 and 10s, hundreds of rickety trucks and mud-spattered jalopies were parked. Whole Mexican fruit-picking families wandered around eating popcorn. B talked to innumerable Mexican girls and got all kinds of confused information. I was beginning to despair, and what I needed, what B needed, was to drink. So we bought a quart of California port for 35 cents and went to the boxcars in the back to drink. We found a place where hobos had drawn up crates to sit over fires, and we sat there and drank the wine.